event, and maybe Nelson, you could highlight a couple of points that are puzzling to you.
Okay, but I'm going to take a break for 10 seconds.
I'm going to get this link to Lauren.
And click on my screen and you see document. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Great.
I'm sorry, I had to take a break. I'm doing too many things.
We are on the air right now.
Okay. So what are you trying to get us to do, Steve?
Well, maybe I will endeavor to share my screen. And there are just a couple of things that I would like to highlight. Well, there we are. So I don't think we need to take long. It's an accomplishment that seems to get this meeting together. There's always this ambiguity factor working online, which is part of the reason for my enthusiasm of pre-recording James Addington's talk. So what I endeavored to do here is to create a clear exposition of what we're trying to accomplish with this learning event. That's kind of the first section. The next section there is an example of what a kind of nice, simple 3-minute explanation looks like of a teacher doing a on-air hangout to a group, and then what it looks like from the group's point of view to watch the teacher do a Q&A and do a little group coaching. And also underneath that is a picture of the view of somebody who's not in a group but simply watching on their computer screen, probably on YouTube. And this isn't actual YouTube, but it could be. And so what I was endeavoring to do with that example is to just share a simple example of what, if we got all the parts to stick together and work, what it would look like from the presenter's point of view, from the watcher and listener and participator's point of view, and so forth. So a little further down, whoever has the controls there, if you would scroll down a little further, then what I tried to do was to provide a brief summary of my take on what this talk might be about. When it gets done, it might be quite different from since Jim's giving the talk, and that's fine. I also provided a link from one of the first projects that got done with the Oklahoma City project learning team. Svetlana did, I asked her to do a walkthrough of the products of some of the teams, and so that's a nice little 2 or 3 minute summary of what some of the work products look like, initial work products look like of the Oak City team. And I don't know if we can get her to participate, either make a short presentation or be a part of the hangout on Tuesday. Things are pretty busy in Chicago next week, so not sure what her bandwidth might be.
Who's the her you're talking about?
Svetlana.
Okay, all right.
Are you talking about Svetlana or Seva?
Yeah. Sorry, Seva.
Okay, let me just update you, Steve, on that. Seva, as I mentioned to you yesterday, I was interested in sharing my 10 minutes with Seva.
Yes.
And she is interested in that too, and Friday would be the time that she and I both could do a little talk.
Oh, that's terrific. That's
So
fabulous.
I've got to nail down a time for her, and I'll be doing it today.
Yes, well, that's the main, other than trying to pull together the focus a little more, that getting that recording scheduled so it works for Svetlana, so it works for Seva, and it works for you. That's just fabulous. Thanks for doing that. That's terrific. Then I also wanted to put in there at the bottom what the distribution strategy is. And there are several distribution channels, one, the broadest of which that we've tried to communicate in so far is one that Lauren created, which is a 21st century educators global network there. And it has about 100 participants for some pretty broad walks of life. Almost all of them are educators. And so I think we want to imagine ourselves talking to a broader group maybe than only our ICA colleagues, although we don't want to short our ICA colleagues for sure. So on the final part there, we're trying to work out so we could do a conversation, use James Addington and Seva Gandhi's 10-minute talk, so we could first use it in a conversation in Chicago and make some notes and some comments on a Google document, then hand that off to Robin Hutchinson in Sydney so that she and some of her colleagues could add to the conversation, then ask them to hand that off to some friends and colleagues in the United Kingdom with Martin Galbraith, and then finally ask them to pass the final document back to Chicago, and we'll try to compile the contents and distribute back the content. So this is our first attempt to try to get a scheme out to do a global inquiry in several different groups, and just the idea of trying it seems already audacious. Actually pulling it off, if we can do that, it's terrific. So any comments, questions, yeah buts, what abouts, clarifications?
I think for me, I mean, I'm down to the little jots and tittles. I think this is a neat plan, and the key for me is just getting said what time these hangout things are going to be, and get that publicized so that people can join in on them.
Yes.
And for now, we're going to have to say we apologize if this is not convenient for you, but we're trying to figure out a time, period. And then some other time we'll do the more convenient strategy.
Yes. According to the folks at the Archives group in Chicago, there are something like 80 people that are pre-registered to participate, and they're from a whole bunch of different places, and some of them have expressed preferences to be in the education research group. Everybody please go on mute who isn't talking. And the thing that they're going to try to do is to create a distribution list tomorrow, and then we're going to be in communication with those that have an expressed preference and see if we can get those groups pulled together and a little more solid. And I hope that Lauren and Jen McGuire and Nelson and I can do a good job of trying to work out the listeners to James and Seva's talk. And we're going to try to have an active, lively conversation in basically 3 different places in 3 different time zones, and whoever can show up, I guess we'll invite them to show up and be present. And in any case, the 2 talks should provide a good starting point from a discussion. So one of the interesting things that you and Seva might work through, James, is what would be some catalytic, or I don't know what a more contemporary term might be, maybe juicy questions to ask that would prompt some nice dialogue.
And I've said before, and Jim, in thinking about this, for me, one of the big questions is, what you guys did, is that a model that other people could learn from and or use in the years ahead? And if not, how do we build something that gives our wisdom contemporary form to modern audiences?
That's a good question.
I'm all for good questions.
Sam and I will put our heads together and see if we can come up with some good questions that can engage some lively dialogue.
That sounds great. The way Lauren phrased that question that you just asked, Nelson, was he knows some people at the university in Kathmandu, and they at least have a theoretical interest in sustainability projects. In fact, he knows some people that have strong interest in that particular content area. So his question was, is there any, he's starting to know and understand some of the traditional conversational tools and so on. He did an action plan with some of the teachers in the school, and it went really well. So he's wondering what, if any, of the learning environment that got created that you guys worked on might be useful in a completely different cultural or institutional context.
That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that part of our task in our little 10-minute commentary will be to make as explicit as we can some of the behind-the-scenes values and decisions that shaped the process that we did.
Yeah. I got back at lunch today. I went to a thingy here in Greensboro. There's some guy that's going around the country with a project he calls Build a Better Block. And basically, it's a human development project, do a miracle project, build a park and stuff like that. But what I said to myself was, yeah, but he doesn't have it. There's no depth in this, and people are going to burn out real quick. And how do we provide some tool that gives the depth that people are going to need to really do something?
Well, maybe we've spent enough time on the content and the questions. Are there some concerns or considerations we need to address in this conversation about the mode of production other than when we're going to schedule the recording event. I'm presuming Svetlana is still there, but perhaps not just available at this moment. James, do you have any issue or concern about? Do you have a suggestion for a schedulable time that might work for you and Seva?
Well, I really don't until I talk with her. I suspect that it would be probably late morning Central Daylight Time. And so, you know, I'll get with her today and see if we can zero in on a time.
Okay, that's terrific. If you find any of this particular document useful, you're welcome to share it with her. If you don't like it or don't want to use it, that's okay too. I was just trying to get it as clear as I could from where I sat. It might be quite something different from where you sit, and that's fine. Svetlana, if James and his colleague might find a time Friday, I think late morning in Seattle and Chicago is early evening Friday in your time.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be a workable time for you?
Evening time, yes.
Evening time?
Yes.
Evening time around what time?
Right now it's great.
Like now it's great. Okay. So.
And what do you think is comfortable, this time comfortable for everybody? Or not?
Well, the only two people that really need to say that is Seva and James and you and Sergey. So they're the essential ingredients there.
And I will talk with Seva sometime today and see what time works best for her.
Okay. Thank you.
I will put emails and phone numbers in this document, which I didn't get done, so people can communicate with each other easily.
And Steven, I have a proposition to check time right now and don't make mistake on Friday.
Yeah.
And now I have 15 minutes to 15 minutes to
10 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have 15 minutes to 2 o'clock in Chicago time, and I think that's... And James, what is the time at this moment for you in Seattle?
It's 11:46.
Okay, so more or less 11 o'clock Seattle, maybe 1 o'clock Chicago, maybe 9 o'clock in Kiev, maybe. At least one possible configuration. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other things that we should talk about now, or should we say that we've done our job here in this session?
As far as I'm concerned, we've done our job.
Great.
Fine by me.
And I have asking for everybody, please send me documents which we will discuss on Friday, because I got a lot of documents and I don't know, I'm not sure what which will be right.
Yes, I understand. I've been creating fire hoses lately for probably 2 months.
On Friday, as I understand it, Jim and Seva are making a report, not discussing a document. Is that true,
Okay.
Jim?
Yes. Yes.
And will it a presentation?
Yes, they're going to do
Please send me presentation before
10
we
minutes.
start.
And no, actually, there's going to be no dialogue on Friday. There's just going to be presentation recording.
Okay. And
Okay.
we will record presentation if you send me presentation before, because I should ask Sergey to show slides.
Okay. It's not clear to me that they will have slides to offer, but if they do decide that, then
Okay.
then of course we'll try to get those to you ahead of time.
Okay.
I think the two of them need to plan their presentation, and then perhaps it'll be easy to say that. Okay? Enough for now?
Enough for now.
Good enough for now.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Svetlana,
And
shall I convene with you in another hour, or do you want to? Do you think you and Sergey can manage at this point? По-русски.
Скажи по-русски, Стив.
Ага. Хорошо.
Хорошо. Хорошо. Хорошо, it means great. Good.
All right.
Okay, good.
See you Friday. See you on Friday.
Take care.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.
Yes.